Alabama 1st and 10 on the 12. Again, Houston. He's got a hole. He's over. Alabama touchdown.
I've just wondered if your listeners know how good a football player you were. I can still see you playing that fullback, knocking those players out of the way. And I believe I could have run behind you. Martin, I can remember when we came to summer and you were playing fullback up there. And I saw you in the weight room and watched you work out in the weight room. And you could pick up, you were strong enough to pick up the whole weight room. I really respect it, and I learned that coach in that biggest mistake we ever made.
The Martin Houston Show with national championship winning fullback Martin Houston, giving you 1 hour of intense, hard-hitting analysis from an insider's perspective. It's time for the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports, Tide 100.9, and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Good morning. Welcome into the Martin Houston Show on Tide 100.9 on your radio dial. The Martin Houston Show can also be found on Facebook at Martin Houston Live and on YouTube at Martin Houston Live. Also at Tide 109 on Facebook. Don't forget to like, follow, and share as well on at Martin Houston 35 on Twitter. We're live and local and ready to get things going this morning. We want to invite you to make plans to get in on the conversation. Before we do that, I want to remind you that this is a day that the Lord has made. So let's rejoice and be glad in it. Take some time today to notice someone, love someone, serve someone, be the difference you want to see in the world today. Got, as I said, a great show lined up for you. We'll be reviewing the weekend. Lots of things happening over the course of the weekend on the Capstone. We'll specifically dig into Alabama football and first spring practice. Also, the Final Four was not a disappointment from those big two big games, and Coach K's coaching career coming to an end, but not without a fight. Big game set for tonight with Kansas versus North Carolina. How big a deal will it be for Coach Davis to win it in his first year, replacing I would say definitely Heisman. I mean, a Hall of Famer and legend and Roy Williams. So kudos to them. As I watched that game this weekend, made me wonder: is Alabama even close to that level of basketball? We're getting a lot of talent, but man, that was some really good coaching and execution. And do you feel that Alabama is there? Alabama getting even more news from the basketball front as leading scorer from last year, Shackelford, out, headed to the NBA draft. So we'll see what happens there. Also, lots of audio from football. But before we get into that, just give a shout out to a few different sports. Alabama gymnasts flipping into Fort Worth into regional finals in terms of gymnastics, and they had the highest postseason score in the history of the gymnastics program, which is saying a lot. So kudos to Coach Dana Duckworth and her staff and the gymnasts there. Alabama baseball picking up its first SE Series victory of the season, so kudos to them. Bama softball battling back after dropping game one to go on to win the series against Georgia here at home. And Jalen Milroe, is he the man? Has he solidified himself as a starting quarterback? So, like I said, we got a lot to talk about. So I want to get you in on the conversation. Good morning, Mason. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing good this morning. Doing good. How about you, Martin?
Doing well. Hey, once we get into this, football is probably going to take over the show. So I wanted to ask you your thoughts from the weekend in terms of basketball.
So I didn't actually get to watch the Kansas and Villanova blowout. I mean, I'm kind of glad I didn't watch it. It seems like it was not that exciting of a game, but I did manage to watch the entirety of Duke and North Carolina, and I mean that was whether I personally am not a Coach K fan. I was very happy to see him lose, but I kept saying multiple times throughout the game whether or not Duke wins, like I would just be happy. Like that was such a fantastic basketball game. It was so much fun to watch. I had such a great time watching it. I mean that is what I want to see Alabama be a part of.
Yeah, that their execution, like you said, it was interesting for me. I've always disliked Duke for as long as I can remember. Probably pretty much Coach K's entire career, because I would have been 11 years old when he got hired, um, and I can't remember ever liking Duke or ever pulling for Duke. But in some ways, I found myself with mixed feelings over this game because of the way they played. You didn't want to see either team lose, right? You didn't want to see Coach K lose his last time um, there, and so that tells you how far I had to come. I overcame 40 years of dislike for that one game, but at the same time, Coach Davis, could Alabama ask for a better replacement at some point, right? When Coach Williams left, you got to be excited if you're a North Carolina fan, right? With Coach Davis getting them there in his first year. So it was kind of a mixed emotion. But to me, watching, I'm going to tell you, Kansas, I think you and I even talked about this. Kansas in the second half of their Elite Eight game and in the first half of their Final Four game, that I don't know how, I know they at one point they were 7 for 10 and they hit a few more. Um, it was crazy how well they played in the second half against Miami in the first half against Villanova. It even looked like they were matched up. I will give Coach Jay Wright some serious kudos though. They were down by 19 and with a couple minutes to go in the first half, battled back all the way down to 5 or 6, but just ran out of gas. They made the game interesting for a little while, and then Love, who he just, I mean, not Love, but in Kansas, and I think his name is Brown. Braun. I thought it was Braun, but they kept saying Brown. Braun, number 2 for Kansas. He made 2 threes as the clock was running out, Mason, that were daggers, man. And he made a nice little layup as well. He had 10 points in the second half. But Kansas looked like clearly the better team in that game. As I watched it, though, it probably hurt my heart a little bit, Mason, because I just don't see Alabama at that level yet. As good as last year's team was, it didn't look anything like those teams. That makes sense. I'm like, man, we got to get bigger, faster. Man, those coaches are making adjustments and going to zones to stop things and running different offensive sets. And I'm telling you, it that was some elite basketball, especially the North Carolina Duke game.
Yeah, I don't disagree with you necessarily. I think though, I think there have been stretches where we have seen that level of basketball from Alabama in the last 2 years. Mainly, I would say in 2021 more than or 2020 more than this past year. But they just haven't quite put it all together. Like you said, I think Nate Oates still has some things to learn. I think one big thing is, you're watching that North Carolina Duke game. I think North Carolina goes on a 4 or 6-0 run at some point coming out of the half. And Coach K, I mean, instantly calls a timeout to regroup his guys. Like That's something that Nate Oates struggles to do a lot, where he'll wait to call a timeout until Alabama gets down in like an 8-0, 10-0 hole, and then it's almost too late at that point to do anything. So I think obviously the team has some growing to do, but I think Coach Oates has some growing to do as well.
That's what I'm talking about. I think he's recruiting at the level that we need to. I just want to see him coach. Like I said, as I watched that game, I'm not talking about just. I'm talking about the game within the game, the strategy, the changes, the adjustments. I haven't, even though we've won games and looked like that. It's been when whatever we came into the game with work, Mason. I don't know if we have a plan B. I don't know if we have an adjustment. And I'm not saying we don't. I'm just saying I didn't feel like after watching that game, I didn't feel like Alabama's at that level yet. And they're not. They don't have to be at that level yet because they hadn't made it to the Final Four. If they get to the Final Four, then maybe they'll play at that level as well. That makes sense. I mean, I'm not dogging Coach Oates. I'm just saying that was just amazing to watch. As we go to break, and we'll come back and talk some football. As we go to break, I know you probably didn't watch it, but I didn't watch all of it. I did watch a little bit of it. Does South Carolina's Daly, did she eventually get offered a job somewhere in men's basketball?
It's hard to say. I mean, after from what I understand, after such a kind of dominant run here at South Carolina, it seems like almost a matter of time before she makes the move over. But maybe she wants to stay within
Yeah.
women's basketball and kind of try to build it up. Because you look at women's basketball within the last 3 or 4 years, like this, it has gotten just more and more and more popular ever with each passing year. So maybe she wants to stick around.
Yeah, when Ariama, when he was winning and all of that stuff, everybody kept saying, "Hey, is he going to make the move? Is he going to make the move?" And I think he pretty much decided he's going to, stay there. With 11 national championships. But he was at a time when all the best players, only went to Connecticut. Now that's starting to spread out a little bit. Uh, you know, Louisville, playing well, Stanford, some of those teams, but South Carolina, that just popped in my head. It's not something I put a lot of thought behind it, but that would be interesting to see, if they even come knocking. You know what I mean? Like she seems to be a really, really good coach and really, really good recruiter for women's basketball. Does it translate? I don't know. But in today's movement, in today's world, I would not be surprised if there aren't at least somebody somewhere to make that offer at some point. Coming back on the other side, we will continue any of that conversation that you may want to comment on. But I want to invite you to get in on the conversation at 205-342-9904. 205-342-9904. That's the Taco Casa hotline. I'm sorry, the Alabama One. I'm going to have to been saying that for about 5 years. So the Alabama One hotline is open for business. Alabama One, alabama1.org, Alabama One together. Give us a call on the Alabama One hotline at 205-342-9904.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the Townsend Nissan Traffic Center, no active wrecks as we crank up our Monday morning drive. Everything looking pretty good on the roadways. If you do see conditions, of course, give me a call. 205-886-8886. Now's the time to head to Townsend Nissan. An amazing selection, great finance rates, and top dollar for your trade. Townsend Nissan, and I'm Captain Ray.
Tuscaloosa Gunsmith does gun repair, modifications, cleaning, Cerakoting, and laser engraving for guns, and they sell Black Rifle Coffee. Tuscaloosa Gunsmith, just off 15th Street behind the fire station.
The perfect place to make your escape. Golden Moon offers 600 finely appointed rooms with incredible views. Take a dip in our Vegas-style infinity pool, complete with a full-service bar and cabanas. Experience the South's premier golf destination at Dancing Rabbit Golf Club, or catch the biggest sporting events at Time Out Lounge. So what are you waiting for? Come see us in Choctaw, Mississippi. Golden Moon Hotel and Casino, a Pearl River Resort property.
Hey, you! Ever wanted to learn a language like French or Spanish or even Norwegian, but thought it'd be too difficult or time-consuming? Then try Babbel. Quick 10-minute lessons.
Siesta.
Habla. Games, podcasts, even live online classes with a real teacher.
Hola, clase.
In no time, chatting about real-life topics will feel, well, effortless. Learn a new language with ease. Go to Babbel.com to try for free. That's Babbel.com.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
Sky partially sunny today, the high at 78. Clouds moving tonight, a chance of rain after midnight, the low 59. Tomorrow, cloudy with occasional showers and thunderstorms. The rain could be heavy at times, and the storms could be severe, the high 77. I'm James Spann of the ABC 3240 Weather Center on Tide 100.9. It's 45 degrees in Tuscaloosa.
Scott Smith and Sophomart Design, doing business for 17 plus years, specializing in graphic design services, commercial printing, promotional products, advertising specialties, and so much more. Basically, any and everything you would need to advertise, promote, and grow your business. Through strong partnerships, strong customer service, and creative ideas, they'll help you market and grow your business. Give Scott a call at 205-292-4680 or email scottis@comcast.net and visit them online at softmarkdesign.com.
Interact with the Martin Houston Show by calling us at 205-342-9904. Tuning into the Martin Houston Show on Facebook.
Well, I think, number one, the goal of a day like today, first scrimmage in spring ball is, we want to see how many guys that, we can give them the knowledge, the experience, the technique, the fundamentals, the ability to go out and execute so that they can play winning football in the fall. So the more guys that we can get lots of turns, improve their knowledge and experience in the spring, obviously is going to help us tremendously in terms of what they're going to be able to contribute to the team in the fall. So I think at this point, everybody needs to be able to self-assess. I think you want to self-assess what kind of competitor you are in terms of, did you give effort? Did you play with toughness? Do you really know what to do? None of those things really take any ability. So it's just about being conscientious and about, being in good enough condition to be able to sustain those things, for the entire scrimmage. So, but look, we're not disappointed in where we are. We're certainly not where we'd like to be or want to be or need to be. And, but I think that because of the circumstance we're in, we're getting a lot of young players, a lot of opportunities, which I think is really important. Having 3 offensive linemen out, 2 starters, for the entire spring. Actually, I had a couple guys out on defense today, so that gave some other guys some opportunity, nothing serious. But so, all in all, I thought the effort was pretty good out there. Some really good collisions. My guys played with toughness. I thought we executed okay on offense. I think we, dropped some balls, which is something that we need to clean up. Probably had too many pre-snap penalties, which is on both sides of the ball, which is something we need to clean up. So just playing smart football. It's important to have a great sense of urgency, but it's also important to be able to play with intelligence and make good choices and decisions so that you can play winning football. But, all in all, I'm not disappointed where we are. I just think that we just got to take everybody from wherever they are and try to keep working with them so we can continue to improve.
That's Coach Nick Saban giving us his opening thoughts and comments from the spring. Didn't really say a whole lot. He made a statement there that sounded like he was saying 3 offensive linemen were out, or was he just saying 3 starters was out? And I'm trying to figure that out. So if I can figure out, I know Dalcourt's out on the offensive line. but don't know what other starters are out from last year. That because if that's the case, then Dalcourt is out at center. Cohen was a starting left guard, and Ekior was a starting right guard, and I don't think Ekior is out. He may be, but either way, that was interesting. That there was no comments really made about the offensive line from the weekend. If you want to talk about what your biggest takeaways were from the Alabama scrimmage press conference and what was said, please give us a call on the Alabama One hotline at 205-342-9904. Mason, what was your biggest takeaway from the weekend from anything that Nick Saban had to say?
And this might just be me kind of honing in on something that's not too important, very likely. But he mentioned the receivers having issues with some drops this week, and I don't know, that's a little disheartening to me. These are guys that we really need to step up big. They're guys that we expect. I expect to have them. I expect them to have big years. I thought that while some of them struggled last year, they showed us in the spring and in a few games last year even that they do have the ability. They just didn't quite put it together. So that was a little. I didn't like that very much.
Yeah, he did. He specifically mentioned drops. Uh, specifically, I think mentioned pressure out of some of his comments from a Bryce Young standpoint. But let's talk about the wide receivers because he specifically was asked about the wide receiver room. And here's what the best coach in the land had to say about the wide receivers.
Yeah, Jermaine Burton did a good job today. Little Aaron Anderson had a couple of big plays, did a nice job. Really good run after catch ability. Took a 5-yard play and ran it for 35, 40 yards against first team defense. So I think the receivers are coming along. Trayshawn Holden has been pretty consistent all spring. Of course, Jacory's not out there, Brooks. And the young guys seem to be getting better and better. JoJo, Leary, they're all, Taiyu Jones-Bell, they all seem to, at times show a lot of promise in terms of what they can do.
All right. Now, did you pick up anything? What should you read? Should we read anything into what was not said, Mason? He started off with Burton did what? A pretty good job, right? He said, "Look, I can't believe he called him little, but he said little Aaron Jones, right? He literally called him little, little. I mean Anderson, little Aaron Anderson did well, and then he proceeded to talk about JoJo and Leary. He talked about Bale Jones. We notice who he didn't mention at all.
Mr. Trayshawn Holden and Ajayi Hall.
No, he did mention Trayshawn. I forgot to mention, and he mentioned Jacory Brooks. He did not, and he said they're all improving, all in better. And with him, is he one of those guys that you go, oh boy, are we gonna have or was that an oversight? Was it intentional? You just can't.
Do you almost wonder if, obviously Nick Saban is a very smart man. He knows how to talk to the media. He's very, very well versed in doing this. He's done it for a long time. Do you think that, he just kind of does it on purpose, not really mentioning Ajayi Hall so as to not drum up a bunch of media stuff just because, he's a name that a bunch of people like to talk about so often just because of what a character he is. Do you think that maybe that went into his decision to not mention him at all?
That's what I'm asking. It's almost like, did Nick Saban intentionally not mention Ajayi Hall because he don't want someone said Greg Armstrong on Facebook on the chat saying supposedly he got 0 reps. That would explain a lot. But yeah, you think is it's interesting. It just like I said, I don't know if he did if he did it on purpose or not. I'm not sure. But it forget whether or not he mentioned him on purpose or not. It is good that you hear Aaron Anderson's name, you know, being mentioned as a new guy, making a little noise right off the bat, getting into the conversation. Um, and like I said, I can't believe he called him little Aaron Anderson, but um, explosive plays from a wide receiver standpoint, taking a 5-yard catch and turning it into uh, a 35-yard run. So you have to be excited about that. And most likely, Aaron did that against the first team D, um, as he may not. But I saw where someone has already penciled him in as a starter. They're thinking it's going to be Ja'Cory Brooks, Burton, and Aaron Anderson. I'm like, wow, I, I'm not ready to put him in as a starter yet, but I do think that it's good to see uh, that someone is the guy that's stepping up, and it appears that Jermaine Burton has taken on the leadership role in that wide receiver group. Uh, and Trayshawn Holden, he said about him being consistent. So if that's the case, and Ja'Cory Brooks, may be the best of the returning guys, that only helps you know that you got some depth. Christian Leary is explosive. What are your thoughts on JoJo Earl from what you saw from him last year?
From last season, I think he struggled a bit when he was on the field. We saw some flashes here and there of what he can do when he gets the ball in his hands, but obviously he had a tough time. I think returning punts, he muffed a few, and then he got hurt, so he never really came back from his injury, and I think he just kind of had a tough time adjusting. But I think that slot receiver position, with the departure of Slade Bolden now, I think that is wide open because we didn't see a lot from JoJo Earl last year. We mostly saw Slade Bolden take those reps pretty much at all times. We didn't really see a lot of rotation at the slot receiver position. So between Christian Leary, JoJo Earl, and I guess now Aaron Anderson, it seems like that position is wide open for anybody to take.
Yeah, and I think it is. I think there's a lot of competition going on there. I also think that any of those three makes us more athletic. I don't know if it makes us better yet from that position. I think all three of those guys are more explosive and a bigger take it to the house threat than Bowden was last year's. So we'll watch that and continue to watch and see what happens there. Coming back on the other side, we'll continue the conversation right here on the Martin Houston Show. I want to introduce to you a new partner. Of course, if you've been listening, you know this is the Martin Houston Show, and I'm excited to welcome Penny Profit Dry Cleaning as the official dry cleaner of the Martin Houston Show. It's the best value in town. Daily cleaning rates, dry cleaning rates of $389 per garment. That's $389 per garment. And the laundry rates for a standard shirt is $225. And they're currently running a special at $199 up to 5 shirts. If you unbutton the cuff and the collar, pants can be laundered for $550 and comforters at $21 each. You can also get your clothes cold washed for $450 per item. Golf shirts only $4. Don't forget that Penny Profit Dry Cleaning is the home of the $389 garment. The official dry cleaner of the Martin Houston Show. Drop off by 8 o'clock today at 2730 Stillman Boulevard, Tuscaloosa, and get same-day service and or next-day service. Aaron Barrows is there waiting to serve you. Once again, welcome to Penny Profit Dry Cleaning, the official dry cleaner of the Martin Houston Show. Hello, this is Martin Houston with the Martin Houston Show, and I want to tell you about one of our great sponsors, Overflow Express Wash. Their mission is to provide great customer service with a showroom clean car and an exceptional customer service experience. They have the basic car wash that starts at $7, but you need to check out the premium wash packages, which start as low as $12 and go up to $20. They also have a membership wash club that you can get for starting at $23.99, going up to $39.99. In other words, just double the regular premium package, drop a penny, and you can be one of the great members of Overflow Express Wash. My family and I keep our cars looking good inside and out by using Overflow Express Wash. They're located on Skyland Boulevard, right next door to Alabama 1, or you can find them online at overflowexpresswash.com. Andy Phillips and his team look forward to making you a part of their team.
Serving part-time in the Army National Guard has led to a lot of firsts for me. It paid for me to be the first person in my family to go to school. That education got me to the first day at my dream job, which I can still hold while I serve part-time. That job and the home loan benefits I got from the Army National Guard helped me buy my first house. I also know that I will be one of the first to respond if my community ever needs me.
Sponsored by the Alabama Army National Guard, aired by the Alabama Broadcasters Association and this station.
Everybody loves Taco Casa. Everything we do in our store, we prepare in our store. We hand cut all of our tomatoes. We block and shred our own cheese here in the store. So we still hand cut our chips, our sopapillas, our taco shells, our chalupa bowls. Our chili takes about 4 to 6 hours to make every single day. The goal in that is to provide the freshest, best quality to our customers. So we just look at it as, hey, basically, we're your kitchen. You're just coming to eat in your kitchen. Taco Casa, under the biggest cactus in town.
Nick Saban calls it the process. John Maxwell said that everything rises and falls on it. And Coach Wooden said it's what you learn after you think you know it all that makes the difference. What am I talking about? Leadership and personal development. Is your organization, your school, your church, your family, are they receiving the proper level of leadership development and personal development? If not, the Empowerment Center for Leadership and Mentoring can help you with that. We have our Pep Talks, which is a 1 to 1.5 hour lunch and learn, which we can customize to meet your needs, or we have some topics that we present that we know can help your organization. And if you're looking for one-on-one mentoring and coaching, we can also assist you with that. Visit peptalks35.com. That's peptalks35.com, or send an email to martin@martinhouston.org. That's the Empowerment Center for Leadership and Mentoring.
Welcome back to the Martin Houston Show, the sound of Bama sports. Your show, your team, on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
I think Bryce had a good day today. Like I said, we had a couple drops. But the first offense, for the most part, moved the ball really well. Didn't do great in the third down period, but I think that was more of the pressure. The offensive line got to continue to improve there. But I thought Jalen Milroe has made, really consistent strides. And he did some good things today. He actually moved the team. We always give the second guy an opportunity with the first team, and he moved the team down the field pretty effectively. So I think he's got a better understanding of what we're doing, and is getting a little more consistent in his ability to execute. And of course, Ty is just a young guy, freshman. He's got a lot of promise, a lot of upside. Smart guy, works hard at it. Everything's pretty fast for him right now, but we're not at all disappointed in the progress that he's making.
That's Coach Nick Saban talking about the quarterback room. Bryce Young, of course, he said he played well, and didn't say anything negative about Bryce. He did say we had some drop passes. I guess that would concern you a little bit if you're an Alabama fan, as we had key drops in the two games that we lost this past year against A&M and Georgia. Um, uh, a key drop here or there, and maybe we win both of those games. Um, you can't help but hope that that's not some type of trend or anything like that. That you got a lot of talent, great route runners, but bad hands. But he quickly went from drop passes to he made a couple statements that we'll dig into a little bit. Third down period, the offense struggled when Bryce was in there, uh, and that the O line has to improve. So hold on to that thought for a moment. But when you get back to the quarterback position, you have Jalen Milroe. I love the commentary around him. He's learning, he's improving, made constant strides, and when given an opportunity with the first group, he made he moved the team effectively, Mason. So good that Nick Saban comes out right out there. I don't think there's any question at this point. We thought there may be some question and comments and battle in the spring for the number 2 position. But based on that, would you say that there's a pretty big gap between 1 and 2 and 2 and 3?
Yeah, I would certainly say that. I think we will definitely still see Ty Simpson this year in some of those mop-up duty games, but I think Jalen Milroe is QB2.
Yeah, I think without a doubt when he said that. And the question is, uh, will we, how much, of course, we're making a prediction way too early, but how much of Bryce Young do you think you see on 8A at this point versus those two guys running the teams?
I think we will see Bryce very little compared to those two.
Yeah, I would agree. I think it's going to be a chance for Milroe to solidify, and I think it's going to be. I think it's twofold: build confidence. They're a little bit different type of player. The offensive line probably blocks. And, be careful with this. I haven't seen Milroe play a lot, but Milroe is a very, very elusive and explosive player who probably leans on his legs more than Bryce does. With that said, the O line could have to block differently for him, so I think they'll want to get them some experience there. How did it make you feel when he says that we struggled in third down period and the O line has to improve? I mean, you're like, oh, okay, here we go again. Didn't make you feel warm and fuzzy about the O line at that point.
No, I think the first thing I kind of thought about after hearing that was, and I want to ask you this is, do you think that the addition of Jahmyr Gibbs kind of changes things on third down a little bit, where we're seeing maybe less help blocking from the running back and maybe him more out and running routes and stuff, so the offensive line doesn't have quite as much help?
Well, and that's based really, like I said, I think and I don't know that we used that as much last year as we could have. I think last year we probably could have helped Chris Owens out a lot. Um, when I played Mason, I was always the second guy out when I was in anyway. But as far as the running backs, I was going to be that last option most of the time. And even when I went out, sometimes my coach would just say, "You just stay in and help." When I would go out, as I would pass by, I would chip the outside shoulder of that pass rusher. Like if we were playing against Will Anderson, even if I didn't help double team him, as I passed by, I would hit his, if he's pass rushing from the defensive left side of the ball, as he came around the edge, I would hit his left shoulder. And I didn't always have to hit his left shoulder, right? Because you know what would happen? He started expecting it. And once he started expecting it, he would move in or try to avoid me, which would give the offensive lineman more of his body and able to get in front of him more directly. So just that chipping and I think that may come from the NFL. Bill O'Brien, you know, B Rob may have did it a little bit more, but you're right. I think with Jamar Gibbs, that's probably even less uh, of a possibility of him chipping on someone coming around the corner. So yeah, I think it definitely impacts it. All right, we got a couple people waiting on the Alabama One hotline, so let's bring in Pat. Pat, you in with the Martin Houston Show on the Alabama One hotline. What's on your mind, sir?
Good morning, Coach Saban's talk after practice. He didn't seem to mention. You talked about this offensive line. But is this offensive line going against? Is that going against the number one front seven, or is that going against the twos? What's he talking about? You got to put it into perspective, Martin. We're talking about what potentially could be the best front seven in college football.
I would say it's both.
Other than your 92 team.
Pat, I would say that it's both. What usually happens is a large portion of the practice is ones against twos, ones against twos, ones against twos, and then certain drills are one-on-ones. So I wouldn't be surprised if some of the third down period probably had some. A lot of the open field scrimmage is 1 versus 2 uh, in the way it's typically done. I don't know that because I wasn't there. Third down period was probably staged and probably had a mix of ones versus ones and ones versus twos. And then the end of scrimmage, they'll usually have 1 or 2 series where they go ones against ones. So I would say that when he's making that comment, it's both and.
Okay. Well, if it's both, then it has me concerned. If it's not, if you're talking, like I said, this front seven, you've been the minister of defense for quite some time, and I think you agree with me that this could be one of the best front sevens we've ever had.
And we hadn't got to this yet. And think about this, Pat. Who didn't practice Saturday on defense?
Yeah, that's true.
Will Anderson did not practice. But we'll play the audio on the other side coming back out of break, Pat. I want you to hear what Nick Saban said about why he didn't practice. That's the key is, and so we thought outside linebacker was a strength, and the fact that what he says about the young defensive lineman and all of that should make you feel even better about this defense.
Exactly. Have a blessed day, Mr. Houston, and get ready for that bad weather tomorrow. It'll be worse.
All right. We're gonna pray we're gonna pray and speak to that wind that it cease and desist. Yes, that's right. That's right. Absolutely. Thanks, Pat. Appreciate you, sir. All right, coming back on the other side, we'll continue the conversation about spring practice. And Nick Saban had some interesting words to say about Will Anderson, about some young defensive linemen. We'll get that audio on the other side. You listen to the Martin Houston Show, and you're able to do that each and every day, Monday through Wednesday, because of the great folks over at Overflow Express Wash. Overflow Express Wash, Andy Phillips and his team do a great job of helping you keep your car clean inside and out. That's the way our family does it. That's Overflow Express Wash. One location in Northport, one location in Tuscaloosa, one right off of 82, one right off of Skyland. Either way, you're going to get great service, great atmosphere, and you'll drive away with your car clean inside and out. That's Overflow Express Wash, overflowexpresswash.com.
Here's what's trending on the Tuscaloosa thread.
Good Monday morning. Tomorrow will bring a fourth straight week of severe weather to West Alabama. There's a marginal risk for severe storms overnight tonight, but tomorrow the real show begins after 7 a.m. Potentially a few thunderstorms could produce supercell tornadoes, generally along and south of Interstate 20. Very heavy rainfall also expected in the area, 1 to 3 inches, with some spots receiving up to 4 inches expected through Wednesday. Stay tuned to complete coverage on Operation Stormwatch. Don Berkeley, Town Square Media, Tuscaloosa.
Hello, this is Martin Houston with the Martin Houston Show, and I want to tell you about Tuscaloosa Custom Carving. If you're looking for a way to add value to your home, make your flower beds pop, make your landscaping stand out from your neighbors, then Tuscaloosa Custom Carving can help you do just that. They have numerous styles, but they feature the Moroccan Stone Curve series, which includes 4 great styles and unlimited color choices. That's Tuscaloosa Custom Carving. They are the one that can help you stand out from your neighbors. Tuscaloosa Custom Carving, 205-331-6823. You may also find yourself with the need for a custom size stone or custom shaped stone. Then Tuscaloosa Custom Carving can help with that as well. Paul Fuller and his team are waiting on your call right now for that free quote. And if you tell them that Martin Houston with the Martin Houston Show told you to stop by, you'll get a big discount. So call Tuscaloosa Custom Carving at 205-331-6823 or visit them online at Tuscaloosa Custom Carving, LLC.
In a collision, easy decision. Make one call to one name, Mesrano, 206-6300.
No representation related to quantity legal services to be performed is greater than quantity legal services performed by other lawyers.
Work is a part of all of us. We know that the world around us has changed, and that's why the Alabama Department of Labor is eager to get you back to working hard. Work is a part of all of us. Let us help you get back to it by visiting your local career center or alabamaworks.alabama.gov. Funding provided by the USDO, ETA, Federal WIA, and Equal Opportunity Employer Program. Auxiliary aids and services available upon request. Brought to you by this station and the Alabama Broadcasters Association.
If you're looking for a quality tractor for your home, business, farm, or hunting club, check out the MT2E and MTE series tractors from LS Tractors. Available at Columbiana Tractor. LS Tractors come with a 6-year warranty and are available in horsepower ranges from 22 up to 101 horsepower. Let the pros at Columbiana Tractor create the LS Tractor package you need with recommended attachments including loader, backhoe, rotary cutter, and box blade. The grand opening of Columbiana Tractor's new location this Saturday on Highway 280 in Westover.
We're planning a trip to Spain later this year.
But our Spanish is
pretty bad. So we're using Babbel.
Babbel's conversation-based method teaches you real-life words and phrases. And with Babbel's interactive, bite-sized lessons, you'll remember what you learned.
There's no easier way to learn another language.
Ahora hablamos español.
He just said, now we speak Spanish.
Babbel, language for life. Now try Babbel for free. Just go to Babbel.com. That's BABBEL.com.
Weather being brought to you by New Floors to Go. If you need new flooring for your home, remember New Floors to Go, 3621 Greensboro Avenue. New Floors to Go.
The sound of Bama sports. Your show, your team. The Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
We got a couple guys that I think that are all young guys that could really, make a difference there. But I don't think it's worthy of, mentioning anybody's name right now until they actually prove that they can do it on a little more consistent basis. But I think we got some guys that can do it. I think we got some pretty good edge rushers. Braswell has done really well. Dallas has done well. Will has done well. Will didn't work today, but it was more by design. But gave those other guys a chance to do it. So that's an area that we got to work on. I think we got guys that can do it. But I think them doing it correctly so that they learn how to push the pocket, especially when you got good edge rushers, is really important.
Wow, there's a lot there, Mason. There's a lot there. Nick Saban talking about the young guys being able to get pushed. He decided not to mention names. Was that a Jai Hall cautionary tale until they learn to show they can do it consistently. Let's not make them superstars or Nick Saban learning. Nick Saban typically doesn't do it anyway, but definitely held off on naming any guys, but said they did a good job. Still got to learn how to push that pocket because of those elite rushers. And then last but not least, Will Anderson not practicing kind of by design to give the young guys a chance. We'll talk about that, but let's bring in Mason, George from Macon. I'm sorry, George from Macon. You're in with the Martin Houston Show on the Alabama One Hotline. What's on your mind, sir?
Hey, Martin, thanks for taking my call. Yeah, my thoughts are, this was only the first week and a half, really, or a week and a day of practice. So I don't think you're going to see a finished product, within the receivers or the offensive line. As far as a couple of blocks, there could be some anxiety there, trying too hard, and they're not used to, being in a game type or scrimmage type situation at this point. And so they probably are surprised sometimes the way or when Bryce gets in the ball. In the offensive line, this is a work in progress the first week. I look for it to get better, but overall, I'm pleased with what I've heard from Coach Saban. As you have already mentioned, the defense I think is going to be set, and I think we got good pieces for the offense that just got to gel and mature, and that's kind of my comment.
Well, first of all, defense is always ahead of the offense. When you come back, it would be disturbing in most cases if the offense is way ahead of the defense, even if you had a lot of returning starters offensively, because defense can be disruptive based on one or two guys and the other guys not even playing well. Offense, it really does take everybody clicking and working together. So I'm not disappointed with what he said about the offense at all. And as a matter of fact, he gave the offense a big shout out, which if I'm an Alabama fan, it gets me really excited, George, considering that we have Bryce Young back, who has a better understanding of the offense. When Nick Saban made the statement that the running game that we're ahead of where we were this time last year. So you have to feel good about the offensive line there.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm really positive about the offense. I'm excited.
Yeah.
Thanks for taking my call, Martin. You have a great day.
Thanks, George. Appreciate you, sir. Call back anytime. All right, Mason. Yeah, a couple quick things out of that comment that Nick Saban made there. First of all, Mason, he talked about those young guys getting that push up the middle. No one asked specifically, just ask about how they're progressing, and that was what that's what he specifically noted. That becomes really big if that's a consistent ability for this defensive line, Mason, because right now with the elite pass rushers we have, think about what how Auburn and several other teams were able to beat us. Will Anderson comes around the edge. Dallas Turner comes around the edge. And that tackle gets up the field, and then the guard, center, and tackle is able to hold our interior guys, and then that quarterback escapes right out underneath Will Anderson as he goes by. Right? I mean, if your middle offensive of your defense can't get push, having great pass rushers actually hurts you when it comes to containing a quarterback, because that elite pass rusher gets up and around that tackle so fast, so quick that it creates an escape lane. So big time. How'd you feel about that? And do you think he's a little cautious on giving those guys the big head?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's certainly something to be said about, Coach being a little cautious about maybe giving the freshmen a big head, because we see I don't want to, obviously I don't know. We don't know what's in Ajayi Hall's head, but it seemed like that was kind of the case last year where he just got a little overly confident. He wasn't quite ready to perform when it came time to do it. But back to the defensive line, I think that's very, very exciting hearing that, a lot of young guys are able to step up like they are. And I hope to see several of them maybe in the rotation this year.
Yeah, that's going to be huge to me. If the defensive line on this defense, if the defensive line comes along, this defense is going to be elite. I'm talking. We'll now I don't know that they'll be in the same statistical category as Georgia was last year, but from a dominant standpoint, I think this defense has that type of chance and potential. When you can set down, um, Will Anderson did not practice by design, Mason. Have you heard of such at the collegiate level?
It's what do they call it in the NBA now? It's load management.
Yeah. I listen. I saw it happen in the pros. I saw superstars take time off and not practice, but you got to love the fact that Will Anderson didn't practice. But what did Nick Saban say that the offense had trouble with? Pass rush. So your best pass rusher is not even practicing, and they're still able to create pressure. He specifically mentioned Chris Braswell. We'll talk about that. Is this outside linebacker group going to be even better than we anticipated? It's really exciting to think about. Of course, we'll have more audio from Nick Saban on tomorrow. We'll have DC Capstone Report joining us on tomorrow, and you're always welcome. If you want to send me a topic offline, you can always tweet me at MartinHouston35 or post your comment on my Facebook page at Martin Houston Live. And hey, listen, I'll try to incorporate that into the program on tomorrow. I love you guys being a part of the program, interacting with us. So thanks to all the callers, listeners, and chatters for being a part of the show. Thanks to Mason for pressing all the right buttons. And as we go off the air, I want to remind you, hey, I'm Martin Houston, and I want to welcome our official dry cleaner of the Martin Houston Show. That's Penny Profit Dry Cleaning. That's the home of the 389 garment. That's right. You can get any garment dry clean for a $389. That's Penny Profit, located down on 2730 Stillman Boulevard in Tuscaloosa. Get by there today by 8 o'clock and get same day service, or at a minimum next day service. That's Penny Profit, the official dry cleaner of the Martin Houston Show. Thanks, guys. Remember this: trust in the Lord always, lean not your own understanding, in all your ways acknowledge Him, and He will direct your paths. Roll Tide, everybody.